Merry Christmas, everyone. It has been through Christmas Day. Lots of traveling, lots of being with family, which I'm very, very grateful for. Very blessed to have that time to be able to do that. It has been a great, great Christmas holiday, and it's not quite over yet, but it's been great so far. Um, some big things have happened. And we'll get into that a little bit as we go. Kind of big things off the field have happened, not just on the field. On the field, big things always happen, but some big things off the field have happened around here for the pad level crew. So we'll get into that a little bit. My name is Jake McKenzie. This is Pad Level. I am recording this early Sunday morning, December 28th. Like I said, been traveling all over Alabama, North Carolina, everywhere. And so it's been a little tough here to get this recorded here. We usually do 2 episodes a week, only able to get one because of the back and forth and some other things going on with the holidays. So I apologize for that, but the family time is important to me. So it is what it is there. We're going to get back on a more normal schedule here in a week or two. And we're still going to give you what you want. We're still going to give you, the information, the previews, the recaps. You're still going to get it. We'll get Griffin and Dalton back on. We'll get some other guests on here. We'll put some film up on here. We'll kind of do also, especially as the season ends and we get into the off season, we'll kind of hit all that kind of stuff. And I'm excited about that. So, the big stuff off the field. Got engaged on the 23rd of December to my lovely now fiance, and I am very excited about it. And now it is the real work is here, I guess. The wedding planning now, from what I hear, it's not I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be doing things, but I've heard a lot of the things may not really be my decision, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. I've got a couple non-negotiables for me, and after that, I let the missus handle it. So, or excuse me, I shouldn't say it that way. I let the missus, you know, basically what she wants. We'll go that with that, unless there's just some kind of huge problem, and I don't foresee any of those coming up. So, um, but yeah, it's exciting. There are things that I'm learning that I would have never thought about ever. I mean, for you dudes out there, just to give you a little bit of a heads up, I didn't know this until we were doing the ring shopping portion. Engagement ring, wedding ring, different. They're not the same. I didn't know there were two. I thought it was just one. The engagement ring was a wedding ring, and the wedding ring, engagement ring, is all the same. Guess what? It's not. Okay, maybe you already knew that. Maybe I'm just a dummy. I don't know, but I did not know. So hopefully I can help somebody in that area by mentioning that. So, um, but it's gonna be a fun experience. I'm very excited about it. Um, we're not really wanting to waste a whole lot of time, so we're gonna have to get to work here, but it's gonna be fun and we're gonna get it done. So, there's the big things happening off the field. I got to see my folks and all that good stuff over the weekend. Well, over the week. So I always enjoy that. Taylor and I always enjoy that. And then got to spend obviously some holiday time up in North Carolina as well. So, um, New Year's coming up. New Year is coming up in 3 or 4 days. It'll be 2026. Um, and crazy that it's already 2026, but it's going to be exciting. A lot of fun stuff. So, now we're going to jump into what I want to jump into is the coaching carousel. We know there's been a lot of head coaching changes. There's been 32 in FBS alone. And from what I'm seeing, every one of them has been filled. And the biggest one recently would be Michigan. They filled that spot with Kyle Whittingham, formerly of Utah. The kind of funny thing or interesting thing about this one is Kyle Whittingham, and he'd been in Utah for 21 years, 21 seasons, I believe. Won a few conference championships, went to a few big time or New Year's Six bowl games, beat Alabama 2008. I remember that one in the Sugar Bowl. So he has had some real success at Utah. They've always been known as a tough team. They're always going to give you a tough game, stuff like that. So I think it's probably going to be a pretty good hire. Now, but what the funny thing is that Kyle Whittingham left Utah, and he basically said, "I'm not finished coaching, but I'm leaving Utah." I mean, you can probably call it the coach's transfer portal. He didn't want to be at Utah. He didn't want to retire, but he wanted to keep coaching. And so he said, "Well, I'm done at Utah, but I'm here if anybody wants to take me." So, coach's transfer portal. And when we get into a coach's transfer portal situation, it's really getting crazy and out of hand there with the portal. So, 5 years, $8 million a year, 8+ million a year, or something like that. I mean, good for him. Now, like I said, at Utah, they were always a tough team, always going to give you a tough game for the most part. So I also think character-wise, this is somebody that Michigan needs, is somebody who's not going to go mess around, whether it's in relationships or any scandals, cheating scandals, whatever Michigan's been through in the last 4 or 5 years. I feel like this guy can kind of put that to a stop. He's also 66 years old. So now he doesn't look or act 66 years old, I guess, but he is. So how much longer is he going to be in this world, in the coaching world? I don't know. But interesting hire, and I think that it could be very good for Michigan. I really do. I really think it could be. Obviously, time will tell. All these predictions about the coaches, the time will tell. I mean, I have no idea, man. I have no clue. But time will tell, as we all know. So, so that's the big one that happened on Friday. So that would be the day after Christmas. Boom, they got to work. He was initially, his last game coaching was going to be the bowl game they're playing in. He's not coaching that anymore. He went straight down to Orlando, where Michigan's playing Texas here in a few days or whatever. And he said it's paramount. I got to get down there to see the team. Not anymore. Well, he's doing that. Not anymore. He's coaching in the Utah bowl game. So, and we already know that Scally, right? Morgan Scally is going to be the head coach at Utah. He's been promoted within the system there at Utah. So probably shouldn't be a whole lot of turnover at Utah unless Kyle Whittingham takes people with him, which is a possibility. Now, the other coaching change that's happened recently. So the big thing with Ohio, not Ohio State, Ohio University, is, I think it's Ohio University. Brian Smith was their coach for this past season. He got put on administrative leave first day of December. About 15 days into December, or almost 20, he's fired indefinitely. They were vague on it. It was this and that, whatever. And then you find out that he had a relationship with an undergraduate student there at Ohio, and also would show up smelling like alcohol to the office and things like that. So not great, not a great look, obviously, for both of those. And so he was out. I believe the defensive coordinator John Hauser coached in the bowl game. Ohio beat UNLV in the bowl game, which we're going to get to, and the players were chanting his name to be their head coach. Next day he becomes a head coach. So good for him. That means there's probably not going to be a whole lot of turnover there either, which is good for continuity and all that stuff. Ohio has usually been a pretty good MAC team. They usually are in the top half, if not the top fourth or third of the MAC every year. So it could be great for them as they are trying to keep being that kind of team and keep going with that. So huge for them and John Hauser. Now, there have been a lot of ball games that have happened since we last spoke. And we're just going to jump right into them. So we're going to go to Monday, December 22nd. This will be the famous Idaho Potato Bowl. This is played in Boise, Idaho. All right. Washington State played Utah State. And listen, I'm going to go through the picks as well because I'm going to be candid with you. I'm not going to just beat around the bush or not going to just hide behind something when I picked incorrectly. No, no, no. I will not do that. So we go to Jake's picks here. We've got them all right here on the phone. Don't worry. Okay. So we last spoke about the playoff, right? That was what had happened, right? The day before we met or 2 days before we met, whatever. Famous Idaho Potato Bowl. I picked the Utah State Aggies. I like the toughness that they showed all year. They ended the season on a really good note. But Washington State came in that famous Idaho Potato Bowl game and just dominated Utah State from start to finish. I mean, it was kind of close there, maybe a little bit in the second quarter. Washington State just flew right past them. I guess I've probably always known this, but as you pick these games every year and you go into the bowl season, I know the bowl game is just one game, except for the playoff, obviously, which is still in this. But when you go from regular season, you got your 12 games, and even conference championship, I kind of count that in there too, if you play in that. You have that, and you have bowl game or playoff. It's two totally different seasons, and I know that probably just sounds, oh, no, duh, dude. But it's so true, especially with the opt-outs, transfer portal, coaches transfer portal, coaches leaving, moving, going other places. I mean, my problem is that I try to take how a team ended a season and pick their bowl game off of that. It doesn't always work. I mean, it seems like a lot of times it does not work really at all because you'll have a team where you think, man, this ought to be a blowout. And it's either super close or the other team just dominates the whole time. So I mean, sometimes you just truly have no idea because of the other part of these bowl games is who's going to be motivated to play in the bowl game. Sometimes you have a P4 team playing a group of 5, going to be group of 6 team, and you think, gosh, this is not even going to be close. But the Power 4 team is not motivated to play in a game, and the group of 5 teams trying to prove something, and they can go and dominate the game. So And the funny thing is, I thought that was going to be the case. Washington versus Boise State in the LA Bowl, one of the first bowl games of the year. And it did not go that way. Washington beat the crap out of Boise State. So you just don't know. And anyway, Utah State gets beat by Washington State. I didn't. Washington State had some close losses to some pretty good teams, Ole Miss, Virginia. But they dominated this game versus Utah State. That was on Monday, December 22nd. I believe maybe this was the same day. No. Tuesday, December 23rd. Had 3 games. Toledo versus Louisville. This is one where I went into it saying, oh, Louisville ought to dominate this. And you know what? They started off where they were. They were winning pretty good. And then Toledo fighting, scratching, clawing their way back. But Louisville ends up winning the game 27-22. Close game, which was a fun game to watch. This day actually was the day that I proposed, that the engagement happened. Had a little party, so I wasn't probably completely locked in on these games like I normally am, because there was a little something going on that day that was probably a little more important. So, but I got to watch. I watched as much as I could, and we got enough at least to get the gist. Louisville wins the game 27-22. Now, the next game that day was the New Orleans Bowl. This was Western Kentucky versus Southern Miss, and Southern Miss was in control of the game for the majority of the time. I mean, this is another one where I think, man, Western Kentucky is going to dominate. Southern Miss, the head coach is leaving. They got some players probably not leaving. They got some players probably leaving to go with Charles Huff. West Kentucky's got everybody there, right? They're good. It didn't look good for them for a long time. Southern Miss, now, granted, Southern Miss was kicking field goals, but they were in the lead, and they had the lead for a while. Western Kentucky fight, scratch, claws back, and ends up scoring and kind of making the 2-possession game and winning 27-16. So a decent game. The first half was Southern Miss's. Southern Miss dominated the first half. Western Kentucky wins. The third game on Tuesday, December 23rd, the big engagement day, was UNLV versus Ohio. This is one I definitely thought UNLV was going to dominate. They've been explosive on offense all year. And Ohio, the coach left. Are they going to hire the defensive coordinator? Are they going to go outside? And UNLV couldn't do anything offensively. They didn't do anything. The score was 17-10. Ohio won. UNLV did nothing. They did absolutely nothing. I was just very surprised. Was not expecting it. And UNLV looked very bad in the bowl game. Now they they had some people who probably opted out, who are in the portal not playing, stuff like that. So, not a great game for UNLV. Not a great way to end the year. They end the year on 2 kind of big losses there. So, anyway, so that finishes up Tuesday. Wednesday, on December 24th, you had the Hawaii Bowl. Probably one of my favorite bowls, and probably because it's on Christmas Eve night. Kind of leading into Christmas Day. I've always loved this game. So, Cal goes to Hawaii for the Hawaii Bowl to play Hawaii on Hawaii's field. So it's just another home game for Hawaii. I'll tell you how this game started. 21-0 Cal. It was 21-0, and Hawaii, they couldn't piss a drop. They couldn't stop Cal for anything. The De Jesus guy at Cal was just an absolute monster in the game. JKS, that's the quarterback. He was a monster in the game. Cal's defense, they got a linebacker number 1. He was a monster in the game. So 21-zip. And then we get into this mid-second quarter, and Hawaii starts scoring. They start scoring. Hawaii comes back and wins the game 35-31. So not only that, Hawaii takes the lead 28-24. So at some point, Cal kicked a field goal, 28-24. Cal scores with probably a minute and a half, 2 minutes left to make it 31-28. And Hawaii drives down and throws a ball in the end zone. The backup quarterback throws a ball in the end zone, and they score a touchdown with 10 seconds left. And Hawaii makes it 35-31. And the backup quarterback didn't play the whole game. The starter is a redshirt freshman, and he went down a few times in the game and ended up coming back and playing. And so then he came out on the last drive. His backup quarterback came in, first play, boom, pops a little fade ball on the outside on his right, and they score. Now, that was exciting, but it may not even be the most exciting thing because, like I said, 10 seconds left. Cal's trying to do the old trick play where or not trick play, but the pitch play where they're trying to go score. And this last play of the game, Cal's trying it. They pitch the ball on the ground, whatever. And then there's an all-out brawl that happens. I mean, I'm talking about dudes are throwing haymakers. I mean, it is a real fight. From what I can tell, there was a Hawaii defensive player who looked like he was pushing a Cal offensive lineman after the play. Just kept pushing him after. And I don't know why he was doing that. And then that offensive lineman basically just, shoved him around, and then everybody started getting on there. And then I see a video later on from somebody from the stands, and as these two guys getting close to the stands, I mean, they are just, they're in a fight. Guys on the ground, he's on top of them. Helmet off. It was not a good scene. But isn't that why we love bowl games? Not necessarily, but it sure made it interesting. Hawaii wins 35-31 in a real shootout. Okay. Then you got on the 26th, you had a few games. That's the day after Christmas. That's on Friday. Central Michigan, Northwestern. First quarter was not much scoring. Northwestern breaks into scoring, and I swear it goes from 0-0 to like 28-0, like that. I mean, it was immediate. I mean, it was out of nowhere. Boom! It was 28-zip. Northwestern beats Central Michigan 34-7. I actually picked that game correct. I picked the Hawaii game correctly, missed the UNLV game, picked Western Kentucky correct, picked Louisville correct, and missed Utah State. So I don't think I mentioned on some of those. Another game on Friday, December 26th, would be Minnesota versus New Mexico. Minnesota pulls out the close victory, 20-17 versus New Mexico. And it was a back and forth game. It was close the whole time. It wasn't like Minnesota was up big and New Mexico came back, didn't have enough time. It was a good game, back and forth. So 2017, Minnesota wins over New Mexico. That was also a game I thought, man, it probably could be ugly. But it was not. It's a good game. And then the last game on Friday would be Florida International versus UTSA. And let me tell you something, UTSA scored early and never looked back. They put up a 57-piece on Florida International. Now, Jeff Traylor is the coach at UTSA. He had a press conference leading into the game, and he was talking about how these guys are opting out, transfer portal. We have about 15, 20 guys who are not going to play, and we're trying to figure out some of them are going to play. He said, listen, I'm not worried about that. With the guys we have, we're going to be ready to freaking rock and roll. And boy, was he not lying. Okay. I mean, the game was never close. UTSA was dominant the whole game, and especially in the game they won 57-20. So great for them. I mean, I really like Jeff Traylor. I think he's a hard-nosed guy. He's a Texas guy, and he's there coaching at UTSA. I think it's awesome. So now we're going to get into my terrible Saturday, December 27th bowl picks, because it was awful. It was horrendous. And just to kind of give you a little bit of a look at what I'm looking at in the bowl picture here. So I'm in the old family bowl, pick'em, whatever. I started off the day on Saturday in first. Now, I'm only in second place right now, which is nice. Tied for second with 1, 2, 3, 4 people. I went 3-5 in the 8 bowl games yesterday. So that kind of pisses me off. The first 2 games pissed me off. Is exactly what I was saying earlier about the games that I think are gonna, kind of no-brainers. At least the first one, Pitt versus ECU. Now I got to give it to my man Blake Harrell there at East Carolina, and Lydia West, the DFO there. They freaking got after Pitt, son. I mean, it was a little back and forth, but basically ECU was basically in control of the game the whole time. Pretty much the whole time. There were some things late in that game when Pitt was trying to come back and win. I just didn't agree with. And I think it kind of came back to bite them when they were trying on that last drive to go score a touchdown. They lost 23-17. And I picked Pitt. ECU won 23-17. PTU. Golly. Pitt just couldn't really get anything going and keep it sustained. East Carolina wins. Congratulations, Coach Harrell and Lydia West. Great job. All right. Now, Penn State, Clemson. You would think, man, this is a playoff game going into the start of the year. This is a playoff game. A New Year's Six bowl. This is the Bad Boy Mowers Pinstripe Bowl in Yankee Stadium, and Penn State and Clemson are playing. I picked Clemson. I'm thinking their offense is a little more explosive. They can do more. They showed me a little more at the end of the season. Here's the thing. I'm going off what I saw at the end of the season, and it didn't work. It's 2 different seasons. The bowl season, you got to completely split it from the season sometimes, and I didn't do that. And Penn State beats Clemson 22-10. This one was close. Penn State pulled away at the end. But Clemson, they faked a punt. Well, from what it looked like, it's a look where if they see a certain thing, the punter's going to throw the ball to the gunner. Punter throw to the gunner. The punter is obviously the guy who's about to punt the ball away. The gunner is the guy, is like the receiver, line up like a receiver on the punt team. Now, I see what he saw. The corner for the punt return team, or the gunner protector, whatever you want to call him, was way inside, like he's going to try to go block the punt. So I see what he's seeing. So he catches the ball and he throws it, but the receiver is running down. The gunner's running down to go cover the punt. And he thinks it's a punt. He jumped on the ball. It's like it's a punt. So obviously not on the same page. And not on the same page most of the game, because they scored 10 points and lost 22-10. So it's huge for Penn State going into the year after the season they had with all the talks. Everybody's down on Penn State. Matt Campbell's coming in there, so it should be a lot of fun. I hope Dabo can turn it around this coming up here. I really do. I really do, man. I like Dabo. So we'll see what they can do. Now, finally, so I start the day off pretty crappy, but the great thing is everybody else in our group did too. Everybody else picked Pitt and Clemson too. So that didn't hurt me. I mean, it makes the record look worse, but it didn't hurt me as far as standings go. We get into UConn Army. This is the Wasabi Fenway Bowl. And UConn had some coaching turnover. I'm pretty sure the quarterback, Fagnano, was not playing in it. Army had no coach turnover. My boys are coaching there. And they won 41-16. They had a running back who rushed for over, or wait, maybe it was 300 yards. I don't know what it was. He rushed for a ton of yards, 3 touchdowns or something. I think his name is God's Power. God's Power is his first name, not last name. His first name is God's Power. I can't pronounce his last name. It's kind of tough, but they dominate 41-16 in the Fenway Bowl. It's our military. That's our U.S. Okay, now the Pop-Tarts Bowl just really pissed me off. I would have gained a lot of traction here had Georgia Tech pulled this game out. They're leading a good amount of the game and then give up a touchdown late to BYU to lose 25-21. And Georgia Tech's driving down. Okay, all right, this is something else I need to talk about here. And this is not just Georgia Tech, but it happened in this game. It kind of happened in the Pitt game. Georgia Tech they're in the red zone. Less than 30 seconds left, but they have a couple timeouts. They have time. 1st and 10, they're around in between the 15 and 20, let's say. Maybe closer to the 15. Listen, they've got 2 timeouts. Enough time. 25 seconds or so. And every play that they ran, it was like they were trying to score from the 15 or 20, whatever it was. When you have 2 timeouts, you can get a first down. You don't have to get all 20 yards in one play. You can get 7 yards and call a timeout and make it 2nd and 3. Or 3rd and 3. But every play they're throwing into the end zone. And I had to throw one away, end zone. And then you get to 4th and 10, and guess what? Then you basically do have to go to the end zone. You got to at least get inside the 5. So I just think, and listen, I'm not an expert. I don't want to say that I am. I don't even want you to think that I am. But you don't have to go for it all every play in that scenario. Get a half. Get about 8 yards. Timeout. And you still have 1 timeout left. And then it makes it easy if you want to go to the end zone. Maybe you can run a run play on 2nd or 3rd and short, get the first, spike it, clock it, whatever. Or call the other timeout, then go for the. The crappy thing is you can sit here and talk about it all day, but then if they would have scored a touchdown on one of those plays, you're thinking, oh man, these guys are geniuses. They're awesome, dude. Which I do think Georgia Tech's awesome. I love Brent Key and Haynes King. I love all those guys. I just want them to win, honestly. And that's pretty biased to me because I like BYU too, but I picked Georgia Tech. And I could have really gained some traction, and I really lost it. So it was a good game. The Pop-Tarts Bowl. You know what, though? They get to eat a huge Pop-Tart at the end of the game, and that's enough for me to want to go and win the Pop-Tarts Bowl. I love Pop-Tarts. Now, the Snoop Dogg Arizona Bowl. I was not able to watch a ton of this. It's on the CW. There's still some family things going on here at Christmas time. Okay. And so I wasn't able to watch every game. So Fresno State plays Miami of Ohio. They win 18-3. A very defensive, controlled game. Not a whole lot of offense at all. So Fresno State wins 18-3. Lots of field goals in this game. I think Fresno State scored one touchdown. Maybe not. I honestly, man, it was a lot of defense. I'd have to go check it out. Anyway, got a few more games for Saturday, and this is where it really kind of almost went off the rails here. The Isleta, New Mexico Bowl. North Texas plays San Diego State. I'm thinking, hey, man, I'm picking San Diego State because they had a good year. Also, North Texas's coaches are in some turnover. New coach left Oklahoma State. They're getting Neil Brown from as an assistant at Texas. And North Texas did what they did all year, and they just scored a ton of points. I mean, it was a 20-something point game at one, or 21-point game at one point. Now, to San Diego State's credit, they roared back in the fourth quarter. And the score looks a little better than it actually was because I'm pretty sure San Diego State scored to make it 49-47 late in the game. Hold on a second. I gotta check on this actually to make sure because okay, yeah. So they score with 1 second left to make it 49-46. And they pick kick Gage point, make it 49-47. So yes, they roared back 100%. Okay. They absolutely did. But even when they scored that last touchdown, they would have had to get an onside kick and throw a Hail Mary or kick a long field goal to win it. And there was only 1 second left, so probably not enough time. So I got to give them credit, but they just went down too much in the game. North Texas could basically do whatever they want. They had a cat score 3 total touchdowns with 200 total yards or something like that. And San Diego State just waited too long, wait till the fourth quarter. If they'd have been doing it all game, they did it. I'm pretty sure San Diego State turned the ball over several times. They had a chance earlier in the game, like midway through the game, where they turned North Texas over and got into the red zone. Or excuse me, North Texas was going down into the red zone. San Diego State picks it off. A crazy interception where receiver's hands on the ground, it hits his hand, boom, he pops it up into the San Diego State guy's hands. Has a pretty good return. Next play, pick, give it right back to North Texas. So they had chances to not go down as big as they were because when they threw that pick, North Texas went right in and scored. I mean, immediately. So Mester Maker for North Texas played. I didn't think he was going to be playing because I heard rumors are he's getting in the portal. He might be going to Oklahoma State. I don't know because that's where old Eric Morris is going. 49-47, they lose. San Diego State loses. North Texas wins. That's another game I lost. The Tax Slayer Gator Bowl. Virginia versus Missouri. Virginia came in as the ACC runner-up from the championship game, obviously. And Missouri ended up going 8-4. Had a pretty good year. Had an injured Bo Perbula. Couldn't really win the big games in the season. You know, they beat who they're supposed to, but when it came to the bigger teams in the SEC, they couldn't beat them. I picked Missouri because I watched Virginia in the ACC championship game, and I thought, man, Missouri's going to score enough to beat Virginia, and I don't think Virginia's got enough to do it. Well, I was wrong again. Now, not wrong by much, but I was wrong. Virginia won the game 13-7. Missouri had chances in the game, you know, didn't convert third downs, didn't convert fourth downs, had to drive to the end of the game where they made a little bit of, gained some yards and then turn the ball over, whatever. So Missouri just couldn't do anything offensively. Perbula is injured, can't play. He's getting in the portal. Had Ahmad Hardy at Missouri. That's the running back who's been so good. I mean, they obviously gave him the ball, but did he do a whole lot? Not a ton. So Virginia wins. So that made me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2-5 on the day. 2-5. Which not good. So then as that was going, the game, the Kinder's Texas Bowl, LSU versus Houston started. And so it was a shootout. LSU hadn't scored points all year. I mean, had trouble all year scoring points. They play Houston, they put up 35. Luckily, Houston scored 38. Willie Fritz and Houston are in Texas. They play LSU and they beat LSU 38-35. Obviously, LSU's got the turnover, coaches turnover, and they've got you know, um, Lane Kiffin's coming in. The interim head coach is going to Ole Miss to coach running backs. There's some Ole Miss, especially offensive coaches, who are going back and forth, coaching Ole Miss for the playoff, but also still meeting with Lane Kiffin for LSU stuff. I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, I don't know. Ah, man, I just don't know. But anyway, so I went to Houston for that reason, and it didn't look good early. It was 14-zip. LSU was winning right from the get-go. And then Houston goes back, makes it 14-14. I think it ended up made it 21-14, and it was kind of touchdown, back and forth, field goal for Houston, touchdown LSU, touchdown Houston, touchdown LSU. Houston wins 38-35. So Connor Wigman there at Houston had a good game. I guess he's got a year or two left. Houston could be really good next year if they get some people to stick around. So we'll see about that. Now, what the games we got coming up? We're gonna roll through these pretty quick. On Mondays, tomorrow, the J-Lab Birmingham Bowl. You see what I got on here, the old App State hoodie. The reason I got this on is because old Griff, Griffin, friend of the podcast, co-host of the podcast at times, is going to be there. He lives in Birmingham. He's going to be at the game there in Birmingham, and I'm pumped about it. He's fired up about it. So I've got the App State hoodie on, right? I'm living in North Carolina. Boone's not far away from me, but I'm picking Georgia Southern to win. My man Darius Safford coaching the DBs there, at least, maybe more. I'm not sure. Give me Georgia Southern to win the game. I think it'll be close. This is a freaking rivalry game in a bowl game. They tried to find somebody to play it for a long time, but a lot of people didn't want to play in it. Had to ask all the 5 and 7 teams because some teams opted out of some bowl games because of the coaches change and whatever. Georgia Southern, give me Georgia Southern to win tomorrow night. Tomorrow during the day at 2 p.m. So Griff's going to go 1 p.m. Central. Gotta love it. Here we go. Radiance Technologies Independence Bowl. Coastal Carolina playing Louisiana Tech. This is actually I believe this is in Shreveport. So it's probably a home game for Louisiana Tech. Coastal Carolina was not super consistent. They've obviously got coach turnover. They fired their head coach. They're bringing in Ryan Beer from Missouri State. My man Trey Carter, O-line GA, assistant O-line coach, whatever, has been there. Don't know what my man's going to be doing after this, but I got to go with Louisiana Tech. I'm sorry, Trey. I'm sorry. I got to go Louisiana Tech on this one. Home game, and I think they're just going to be ready to go. We'll go Tuesday. Another game on Tuesday. That game, the Independence Bowl, is at 2 Eastern. This game's at 5:30 Eastern. The Music City Bowl, Tennessee at Illinois, or versus Illinois. Tennessee's got too much firepower. Illinois, I think, showed they can't really score a bunch of points. Give me Tennessee. Joey Aguilar. Big game for Joey. The last game on Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern. I've talked about this already. Why at 9? I don't know. USC and TCU. USC ought to get after them. I don't know who's going to be opting out or not playing, but they ought to get after them offensively. TCU finished the year 8-4. Josh Hoover is getting in the portal with TCU, so he probably won't be playing. So give me USC to go win the game. Then we got Wednesday. This is New Year's Eve. An interesting one, Iowa versus Vandy. Can Iowa score points? Can Iowa stop Vandy from scoring points? Give me Vandy. Vandy's going to score a lot of points, and I don't think Iowa will, which means that they will win. That's 12 Eastern on Wednesday, New Year's Eve. You got the Sun Bowl, Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl. They're great. All right. Arizona State's playing Duke. Arizona State. I pick Arizona State. I like Kenny Dillingham. I don't dislike Manny Diaz, but I don't think they're going to be as good. They won ACC. They may be feeling real good. Give me Arizona State to win it. Also on New Year's Eve, Michigan, Texas. Michigan's got all the stuff going on. New coach, old coach, got fired for bad reasons, all this other stuff. Texas, Sark is there, Arch is there. Texas wins. Michigan had their chance with an SEC school earlier against Oklahoma. Didn't score many points. Didn't fare very well. Give me Texas. The Las Vegas Bowl, Nebraska versus Utah. Nebraska, the quarterback left. Well, he's hurt, but he's transferring, looking for better NFL opportunities. Utah, this is one of those things they should get after him. Obviously, Kyle Whittingham was supposed to coach in the game. He's not anymore. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm thinking it's going to be Utah big, but like we always say, you never know. All right, we're going to get into playoffs here. 4 games. Miami versus Ohio State. And I have the right to change these as it gets closer to the game. It's Sunday. These games aren't played until Wednesday and Thursday. Miami, Ohio State. Ohio State, I kind of want to pick Miami. I just don't know if I trust Carson Beck enough. I just don't. Didn't do much offensively versus Texas A&M. They got a great defense, but Ohio State I think is going to be more apt offensively to do something when they stop Miami. So give me Ohio State. Maybe the most intriguing game of the whole playoff so far, Oregon versus Texas Tech. Give me Texas Tech, and here is why. Oregon played James Madison. Oregon got after him. Texas Tech's defense is going to be better, obviously, than James Madison's. They're going to be able to hold Oregon. Texas Tech's offense can score. They can be physical and run the football. Give me Texas Tech to win. All right. Alabama versus Indiana in the Rose Bowl. First of all, I didn't think Alabama was going to get in this game. But then I get to see how they win that last game where they have an offensive almost explosion after going down 17-0. And Indiana they're perfect. They're 13-0. The only undefeated team in the country. FBS. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick Alabama to win. I just think they're hot. And as we learn from Ohio State, you got to pick the hot team. Georgia Ole Miss in the Sugar Bowl, Georgia. I think it's going to be not easy, but I think it's an easy pick. Georgia wins, beats Ole Miss, and moves on. Georgia's my national championship pick, so I'm picking them. Now, the last few games on January 2nd, we're going to roll through these. Got church to get to. I got to get rolling here. At 1 p.m. Eastern on Friday, January 2nd, Texas State versus Rice, Texas State. Rice, I love the offense they run. I just don't think they're going to be able to be physical enough. Texas State was up and down they're like a roller coaster. Give me Texas State. Navy versus Cincinnati. Give me Navy. Blake Horvath and the boys. Coach Newberry and the boys. Brett Wimberly, PJ Volker, Tommy Laurendine. Navy over to Cincinnati. Cincinnati doesn't have Sorsby either. Duke's Mayo Bowl. Catch me at the Duke's Mayo Bowl in Charlotte on January 2nd. I'll be there with my beautiful fiance, most likely. Catching the Wake Forest Demon Deacons playing Mississippi State. Give me Wake Forest, Mississippi State. I don't think it's going to be able to stop. Now, they're going to be probably fired up. They were 5-7. They got in because some teams didn't play. Give me Wake Forest. And don't worry, I got a hoodie. I got the hoodie. I'm gonna be not this one. I'm gonna be wearing the Wake Forest when we go that one. So I'm excited about it too. And the Holiday Bowl, historically, some good games come from the Holiday Bowl. Arizona versus SMU. I believe SMU was a part of one of those games, those historical Holiday Bowl games. And SMU versus Arizona. Arizona's going to beat SMU. Arizona offensively is very good. SMU, I don't think is going to be good enough. Won't be able to stop Arizona. Give me Arizona. Listen, folks, that's what we've got. Okay, get ready for some. This week's going to be iffy. I'm going to be on a little trip most of the week. May get back with you in the weekend. That's why I went through all the games for the week. But listen, this has been great. The holidays have been great. Football's been great. Some off the field, some engagement things have been great. So, listen, thanks for being here. Thanks for listening. Thanks for sticking around and checking us out during the holidays. Um, we'll be back for more. And in the off season, there'll be some more stuff that are different. And I'm really excited about that. So, listen, I appreciate you being here on pad level with me. I hope your Christmas vacation, Christmas holidays were great. You saw some people and hung out with people that you really enjoy being around, that you love. And excuse me. I hope you have a great new year. Start to the new year. Get those plans, get those goals ready, and hit them with some freaking low pad level, right? That's the only way to freaking do it. So, thanks so much for being here. I love you, and we'll be back. And listen, eyes up, low pad level through the end of this year, into the new year, and let's have a great year. Let's get into a great 2026. Thanks so much. I love you. Bye.